This is the answer guide video for the Unit 6 study guide. The first section, ELRs 6.1 through 6.4. In the first section, you're being asked to decide if each answer is true or false. The first question says, there are less than 50 known elements on Earth. That is false. There are 115. Number 2 says the smallest part of an element is an atom. That is true. If you have multiple atoms, that's what makes up an element. If you were to go smaller than that, you'd be talking about parts of an atom, not parts of an element. Number 3, the stuff or substances in a mixture do not combine chemically. That is true, and I have something to show you to help you to see that. Imagine that you have a mixture that looks like this, made up of the representation of an atom by the green dots, or an element I should say, and a representation of an element by the white ones. If you were to bond these chemically, what would end up happening is you would get this. You would get the black ones bonding with the white ones, and you would get a pure compound, and it's no longer a mixture. So that's why the stuff in a mixture do not combine chemically, because they would no longer be a mixture. So that's true. Number 4 says water is a common compound on Earth. That's true. It's got one oxygen with 2 hydrogens sticking off of it, so it's more than one. They're bonded, and they're of different types. Number 5 says matter that is made up of just one kind of element is a compound. That is false. So the reason is because, again, the rules to be a compound is more than one atom, bonded, at least 2 types. And so if you have something that is made of just one kind of element, what you're breaking is you're breaking the third rule, because a compound has at least 2 types. Number 6 says oil and vinegar salad dressing is an example of a heterogeneous mixture. That is false. Since oil floats on top of water, if you've ever seen oil and vinegar salad dressing, it's separated out and you can see all the parts and pieces. It's not totally mixed. Number 7, a homogeneous mixture is not well mixed. False. That's what a heterogeneous mixture is, not well mixed. Number 8 is off of the true-false. Now we're on 2 short answers. How would a chemist classify a Chipotle burrito? And be sure to justify your answer. Chemists would classify it as a heterogeneous mixture, and that's because it could be more mixed. Imagine the blender test. If you were to take a burrito and put it into the blender, you could easily make it more mixed than what you get at the Chipotle. So this makes it heterogeneous. Number 9 says, what would you have to do in order to break apart a molecule, and how is that different from separating a mixture? Well, let's start with the molecule side. In order to separate a molecule, you would have to, here's a picture of a molecule. A molecule has just 2 rules. It's got more than one atom and they're bonded. So that's my most simplistic drawing. In order to get those things apart, I would have to break that bond. Well, breaking and making bonds is the world of chemical changes. So in order to do what the question is asking, in order to break apart a molecule, you'd have to do a chemical change. Well, for mixtures, here's my mixture. If I wanted to get the dark green ones away from the white ones, what I would have to do is just physically move them. So over here to separate a mixture is a physical change required. Over here to separate apart a molecule is a chemical change required. Number 10. It says, is NaCl an element, compound, or mixture, and how do you know? Well, let's just go one at a time. In order to be an element, you must be more than one of the same type bonded together. Automatically, we can tell that this is not an element because those are 2 types, NAs and Cl, so it can't be an element. For a compound, it must be more than one type, bonded together, and more than one. So that fits the bill. More than one, it's Na and Cl. They're both different types, and because they're written together, that means that they're bonded. This is a compound. Just to finish it out, it's not a mixture because there's only the one thing. This would be a pure substance. So it's a compound. It follows the rules of a compound. Number 11 on the paper. Use circles and triangles and squares. I tried to make these as simple as possible as to not confuse you. For my element drawing, I have all one type. It doesn't matter if they're bonded together, and there's more than one of them, so this would fit the bill for an element. For a homogeneous mixture, as long as it is totally mixed, and it says of 2 compounds, totally mixed, and I'm showing 2 different compounds. Notice I have the dark green and the white as a compound, and then I have a square and a circle as a different compound, and they're fairly well mixed.
For heterogeneous mixture of two elements, heterogeneous means not well mixed, so I've got all my my triangle elements down here at the bottom, all my squares up at the top. And the final one says a pure substance, so in this box, as long as you drew just one type of element or just one type of compound, that would be the right answer.